Good evening and welcome to East Devon District Council's Leisure Strategy Delivery Forum meeting on the 11th of November 2024. I am Chair Councillor Sam Hawkins. This meeting is being recorded and is live on the Council's YouTube channel. There is no fire alarm drill anticipated this evening. If the fire alarm sounds, please leave the building through the nearest fire exit by following the green running man signs above the doors and make your way to the rear of the car park. The organiser of the meeting will tell you when it's safe to return. Please make sure all phones are either muted or switched off. All councillors have been sent the agenda for today's meeting. Any member of the public who wants to view the agenda can do so by visiting our website www.eastdevon.gov.uk. We will now carry out a roll call of members here present.
Thank you. Councillor Arnott. Thank you. Councillor Bloxham, please.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Goodman.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Hawkins.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Hayward. Councillor Hookway.
Present, thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Loudon, please.
Present, thank you.
And I can confirm that we'll call it, Chair.
Thank you, Sarah. Agenda item 1, apologies. Back to you.
Thank you. We have apologies from Councillor Smith, Councillor Wibley and Councillor Toy.
Thank you. Have we got any other apologies people aware of? No. Thank you. Agenda item 2, minutes of the previous meeting held on the 25th of June 2024, pages 3 and 4. Does any council have any comments on the minutes of the previous meeting previously held? No. So on that basis, I can assume that you're content that they are agreed. Agenda item 3, declarations of interest. If any members of the forum have any declarations, please state them, including the agenda item to which your declaration relates, and state exactly what the interest is, please. No. Thank you. Agenda item 4, public speaking. There are no members of the public registered to speak. Agenda item 5, matters of urgency. There are none. And agenda item 6, confidential and exempt items. There is one such item listed at agenda item 11. Then on to agenda item 7, LED facilities and activity report, August to October 24, pages 5 to 8. That's over to you, Matt, I believe.
Yeah, thank you. Kind of as in the usual format, I'm assuming most people have had the opportunity to read it. If anyone's got any questions that they want to ask or any bits they want some further detail on, then obviously please feel free.
Thank you. Useful background. If any members got any queries, you might go over this one. Otherwise, I think we're just noting on that basis. So thank you for the report. Agenda item 8, I think we're back with you, Matt. LED school reflection report 23-24, pages 9 to 19.
Yeah, so this was an additional report put together by one of our team, just highlighting some of the works we've done with schools as part of that kind of community outreach for last academic year. Once again, it's quite an in-depth report with lots of detail on the different schools. So if anyone's got any particular questions, I'm not sure I'd be positioned to answer them in detail myself. We can definitely get one of the team to feedback.
Great, I've got Councillor Loudon.
Thank you, Matt. Unfortunately, I can't get into my copy of the agenda, but having looked at it earlier on, from memory, I was hoping I could refresh my memory by looking at it again, but I thought there was something like 8 schools, was it? Schools, colleges that you've listed, helpfully giving a summary. So I was just trying to understand how it is that you end up getting engaged with them. Is it you approach them, they approach you, and then how do they get involved? Because my attention was drawn to the fact that my local school wasn't there, so I was just trying to, that made me start to be a little bit inquisitive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, I can do my best to answer. I'm not there on the ground with them. We work with a large number of schools, and a lot of those are legacy projects. Some of it is relating to where there's been a specific funding stream available for a certain area. So they've started to engage on works with a particular school. And lots of those, I think, once they have started working and showing what they can do, often the schools are quite keen to continue engaging with them. I know that with regards to capacity, they're tight, and we are quite reliant on a number of volunteers who are helping out with some of the different projects. So there is the possibility of us engaging with further schools. So if there are any that are interested, we're happy to have those conversations, but we can't guarantee quite how quickly we might be able to deliver that.
Thank you. So if you are working on predominantly legacy, then I suspect, my interpretation, that schools generally will have not had an engagement, an encouraging engagement, if you like, for some while. And I'm not putting forward specifically, it's not my remit to put forward any schools, but I'm just wondering that whether you have or could have a plan once you get additional capacity to then start reaching out in some way, particularly trying to do it, so that, if you like, both geographically and age-wise, schools are almost targeted. And I don't mean it quite in that way, but you get my drift.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, I can feed back to Lottie and Jane, who kind of look after that team, and definitely pass that on.
Great, thanks. Just touch on your point about access to the agenda. It should have been separately emailed because apparently there is an issue with some back-end system. You might have it now.
I've gone in through my email.
Have it, thank you. Councillor Hookway.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm very pleased to read the LED schools project in East Devon report. There's clearly some very good work going on there, and young people are clearly very heavily committed and involved. That's very good. But I wanted to ask a more general question, really as a point of information, and I'd like to know what charges LED is making to these schools that are taking part in the LED schools project, please. Thank you, Chair.
That's not something I'd be able to provide an answer to tonight. I can, like you said, speak to some of the teams. I'm sure because of the levels that some are subsidised, some are funded, I would have to come back with a bit of a report that kind of showed some of the use and charges.
Okay, thank you for that reply. I'm quite happy for you to come back on that. I'm just really just trying to dig deep to see if we have a similar situation here where we have with the dual use sites, where there is an imbalance between payments, and we're actually in the process of subsidising schools that are funded through central government. But I look forward to your reply. Thank you very much.
That's great, thank you. I've got Councillor Barlow next.
Sorry, Chair, it's my similar question following on from Councillor Lamb. I just wanted to know, do the schools pay for it? And if so, how much? And is that why certain schools are and certain schools aren't? That's all I wanted to ask.
Thanks, I think that's something you can address as it pick up. Thank you. Councillor Goodman.
Thank you. It's really following from John's point. In my own county, we used to have the heads of all the schools used to meet regularly through the year, and I'm just wondering if anybody from LED have ever thought of going to the Devon heads meeting to explain what you do, because I think John's absolutely right. I think some of this work is really good, but are we marketing it in the way in which all children have the opportunity? Because I think it's some great schemes here.
Yeah, not something that we currently engage with, but definitely take it on board. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got another question. I think, again, it's another one for the forum to note. On that basis, I think we can move forward. Thanks, Matt. I say thanks, Matt. Matt, back to you. Agenda item 9, LED KPI dashboard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah, and I think it does. We made there was a comment all those months ago at the last forum regarding, I suppose, some seasonal variation. So we've added in an additional line that you can see just with prior year figures, just to make it slightly easier to draw comparisons against month. The percentage is still a monthly change, so that's the current month versus the prior month, whereas the black figure in prior year is that month against the same month in the previous year. Kind of like the chair alluded to, it kind of speaks for itself. But if people have any questions, then absolutely, please feel free.
Thanks. Just picking up on the August, the MPS was really, really good compared year on year and everything. Do we know what? Was there something amazing happening, or just the right people were asked and gave the right answers?
I think a mixture. I think we quite a few of the visitors that came in August were people who maybe haven't attended for a while. So we tend to get a lot of kind of seasonal use. You get children coming for the fun and float sessions. You get people attending facilities that are maybe on holiday. So some of those people, I suppose, it's some of the first times they've had the opportunity to engage with us. And I think there was obviously, looking at a lot of the feedback we had, I think people were quite impressed with their visits. I think obviously we noted within the other document that obviously one of LED's sites at the hangar has actually been awarded the National Club of the Year from MPS as part of the kind of Member Experience Awards. So that is within all leisure providers that engage with the MPS score, and ours was the club that had the best overall score throughout the year. So it's a really positive news story.
Great, thank you. Is there any other members got any questions? If not, again, for noting that one. So we will move on to agenda item 10, property and FM team update on activity at LED occupied sites, along with proposals for 25-26 capital bids. We're handing over to Tim for this one, please.
Thank you. Evening, members. Before I actually get going with the report, can I just do a quick introduction, please? So for tonight, I'm going to be George. George has sent his apologies. We have Mike O'Mahony, who we've spoken about prior to today in terms of our new senior leisure officer. So if I can just introduce Mike, please. And in terms of sort of introductions, we have, so Mike joined us only last week. We have a meeting, I think a face-to-face meeting with Councillor Hookway as portfolio holder tomorrow, Mike, myself and Nick, and then following that there'll be sort of further induction sessions to sort of gradually sort of get Mike sort of out and about, including visiting the leisure centres and sites generally. So, and Mike will be joining the monthly client meetings that I have with Matt and Ollie. And I think, Mike, you'll also be joining in on the monthly property and FM team, more operational type meetings, again, take place monthly even. So yeah, rather than putting Mike on the spot to do a full introduction, I think let's sort of, over the course of the next couple of weeks, Mike will start to sort of be introduced. Okay. So now on to the report before you. So again, like the reports you've already received tonight, usual format. For this particular report, the last time you received this was actually November last year. We generally try and do them 6 monthly, but we obviously missed the last cycle. Moving forward, I'm keen that we make them more frequent again, because I think there's some good data within. In terms of the data within the report, it runs from last November through until September of this year. Before I get into the data itself, or just touching on the data itself, there is reference within the report to the stock condition survey that we'd commissioned as part of the wider leisure review work. That stock condition survey is now back, hit my desk, I think it was last week, so we're beginning to look through that data and determine what that's telling us. Picking out sort of specifics from this report, compliance, so health and safety compliance. We've always had a really, really strong figure here, but I'm pleased to say that that figure has improved further over the course of the last year. So we have 84% compliant, or warning just over 15%, and just 0.7% overdue. A warning is within 30 days of a due date and 13 days beyond, so it doesn't mean we've missed anything. It would generally mean something is in the progress of taking place. So that's an improved position from what was already a very good figure a year ago. Again, usual format as previous reports. So we break down between the various types of work that we're doing across the portfolio. We break it down, as I said, types of work, but also against the property. And it's again showing us that there's a particular sort of emphasis on Exmouth Leisure Centre. Again, probably not that surprising. It's the largest of our sites, but certainly some of the pie charts and the bar chart in 3.5, I think, is always paints sort of a really interesting picture in terms of sort of where that capacity is being used. This report also updates on where we are with delivering the currently approved capital bids, so the capital funding. But this report also sets out the capital bid proposals for 25/26, which have today gone to our BSCAP meeting, which, looking around the room, lots of you are already in that meeting, so I probably don't need to sort of reiterate here. In terms of the recommendations are merely to note the contents of the report and B, to note the capital bid proposals submitted to ELT and to BSCAP that are included in section 6. And I'm happy to take questions.
Thanks, Tim. On page 12 of 20 or page 32, the pie chart's there at 3.4. It'll be, I guess, you touched on it, it'll be helpful to understand what we would expect those distributions to look like, I guess, by the number of users at each of those sites. I don't know, that might probably is the best criteria to go, because I appreciate, like you say, Exmouth Leisure Centre size, we've probably got the most users in there. But is that a representative portion of the pie that we would expect that to be? Or actually, would we expect that to make up half or a quarter? I don't know. Not for today, just something to, I think, going forward with this one, that'd be useful. And also, I want you on the percentages on those pie charts. Are they by value? Do you know?
It should add up to 100%. I should have checked this before coming along tonight, but it's the percentage of the pie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, is it a percentage of value or percentage of number of jobs? Or...
No, so, apologies, number of jobs.
Thank you. Councillor Barlow.
Thank you. Just on the East Devon Tennis Court roof, it says it's completed defect period. Is the work done now? I sort of remember it was in the meeting we had earlier that was coming up again. I thought it was in next year, but that's been done now, is it?
Apologies, for tennis centre.
So it says here.
So which paragraph are you looking at?
Page 36, roof replacement over courts 1 to 4, 24-25, Exmouth East Devon Tennis Courts, 812,000, completed, defect period.
Yeah, no, those works have been completed. I think LED will be able to confirm the position on the ground. Are they?
Yeah, I think the roof has been completed. There have been a few, I think, small issues with some small kind of isolated leaks. I think are being investigated as we speak.
If I could just come back then. So we've spent that, we put a new floor down on it, and then we've totally rebuilt it, £812,000. But there's still quite a large chunk in the pie chart that still goes to defects, etc. in there that's coming out. Is that normal? I thought if you'd renewed, everything was brand new, we're supposed to have less money being spent on it then.
So the works relate to this, as you know, the surfacing of the courts and the roof in terms of the number of cases that come through. A lot of them will tend to be small reactive jobs, so it could be anything from leaking sinks in the toilets, it could be faulty doors, it could be a whole electrics, it could be a whole range of things. So whilst we picked up two large building components, in terms of the types of reactive repairs that we do, that's probably not going to make a massive difference. But what I would expect, having spent those money on two key components, is that they are the costly items. So you've got two really, really meaty bits of work being done. But as I say, so you shouldn't be having big costs coming forward, but in terms of reactive works, I wouldn't really expect that to really sort of change the position very much.
And again, sorry, I'm not aware of the tennis court. I don't know how many tennis courts are there, but I presume there's more than 4 tennis courts there, but it's 10.5% of the budget as a percentage of your pie chart, reactive repairs. And that is by cost, as you just said. It just seems rather high for something that, I'm not being funny, if there was lots of use and lots of things, but there can't be that many people use it just because you can only get 4 people playing tennis at a time.
I think we said that pie chart's on cases. The spend as a percentage is on 5.2, page 37, where it's 7,000. If I'm looking at the right, no, that's right, that's last year. This year is 12,000 at 5.35% on the following page, 5.3.
I think it's also worth perhaps just revisit the tennis centre. So, Matt, you're obviously more familiar with the tennis centre than I am in terms, but it's actually, it is a big facility. There is a lot there. So if we were to look at our overall portfolio and the size of our sites, the tennis centre is one of the big sites. It is more than just four standalone courts. I don't know if Matt wanted to come in.
Yeah, no, correct. Yeah, so you've got the 4 kind of courts that have just had the resurfacing and the roof done. There's another 2 courts, the other side of the building, and then we've also got a gym within there as well, and then a reasonable size kind of hospitality offering. So it is actually quite a big building from footprint size.
Thanks, everybody. Any other queries? Otherwise, again, it's another one to note, which I think we can just move on from. On that basis, then that will bring the public section of our meeting to an end. I obviously like to thank everyone publicly taking part. There will now be a short adjournment for officers to prepare Part B.